Hi, good morning everybody. It's nice to see you.
This is my mom, and ever since COVID-19, she's had to teach her 6th graders through Zoom.
Basically I taught on Zoom the whole of the school year, this past school year, starting in August and going all the way till June, because even when we returned to the classroom, and that was at the end of October for some students, I still had a number who were learning from home, so I had to teach them as well. And even when we almost had full class sizes back in the classroom in April in my school district, I still had 3 or 4 students whose families decided to stay home. So I would still have to teach the 27 in front of me, as well as having 4 on Zoom. Yeah, there were a lot of technical difficulties throughout the whole year. So sometimes I would lose the connection at my own home when I was teaching from home. And there was a lot of amusement in the Zoom classroom when I managed to get back on, because a student would say, "Mrs. Wilson, I made myself the host until you came back." And so they kind of enjoyed that when it did happen. There were a lot of students who had trouble and would get bounced out and need to come back. Student engagement was difficult throughout the year. It was certainly a lot better when the students were in the classroom. Trying to teach over Zoom was tricky. A lot of them were really shy. I was teaching 6th graders and it was their first time at middle school, and they didn't know each other because they were all coming from different elementary schools merging into one big middle school. And so a lot of the students were so shy and they wouldn't keep their cameras on. Oftentimes they were not necessarily even in the room. I also taught some classes where kids were laughing because they were taking their class from a jacuzzi or were decorating gingerbread houses in the backyard while I was trying to teach them a class. So discipline kind of went out the window. It was very difficult throughout the whole year. It was difficult to have the majority of students keep their cameras on, and my district, we were sort of told, don't push the issue. I would say 5 or 6 out of 30 really did not want to have their cameras on during the Zoom session, and no matter what I did, it was really difficult to get them to engage. In my opinion, the grades are less important in middle school than becoming organized and getting good study habits, but so there was a similar mix of ability and a mix of interest and a mix of a drive in the students that we had before, but there were probably more students who were failing. I certainly heard that from other teachers. They had more students failing or in danger of failing than in previous years. There's been a lot of debate on whether teachers think we should use Zoom in the future when the world is more normal. My own opinion, in order to be a successful teacher, I need to make relationships with my students. I need to get to know them, and it's really impossible to do that if they're not in the classroom. So you can't gauge their moods, their friendship developments, as well as working together in the collaboration with other students. There's so much you can't do if they're not in the classroom. So I really never ever want to do that again. It was just really terrible. It was the worst of all worlds, in my opinion. I think it's really good to have students develop skills in a digital sort of platform. It's really good for them to use the Google Classroom suites and all of the G Suites, and to develop those skills. It'll stand them in good stead in the workplace. But I don't think you can really get the most out of being in school unless you're actually in school. There's just too many difficulties. It's hard to make good relationships, and it's hard to help students establish good routines and to be a good middle school student unless you're actually face to face.